this your secret to staying warm?
No.
No, it isn't.
I have no secrets. I'm mad. I have to go to work. I have to earn a living. I'd rather have a private income and get laid well and often.
knock those together. No.
Holy shit!
Jesus.
Oh
Bobby,
my
stop. Bobby,
shit.
stop.
What's wrong with you?
Whoa!
Do not move!
Do not move!
What is wrong with
Laura,
you?
are you dumb? How are you laughing at this?
Yeah. What up? This is Royce Jay of Royce Jay Media coming at you guys with another video. How you guys doing this morning? Y'all doing good? See if my camera's working, man. I think my camera wanna act crazy. Yeah. What's up? How y'all doing? Happy Hump Day. This is Royce Jay of Royce Media coming at you guys with another video. How y'all doing out there in Rumbleland? How y'all doing out there in Rumbleland? Can y'all hear me? Can you see me in Rumbleland? Yeah, what up, Rumble? Happy Hump Day. How y'all doing today? Y'all good out there? Everybody hard at work? Trying to make it through the middle of the week? I hope so. What's going on? What's going on? Talk to me. As you come in, do me a favor, hit the like button. And if you're really, really brave, do me a favor and announce yourself in the chat because I like to know where people are watching from. Y'all know how it is. I'm building this as I'm flying. Okay. We got a doozy today, man. This is a good one. I'm going to get a few more people in here before I start actually talking about the topic because this is a juicy topic. A juicy topic. Okay. I'm trying to get it together this morning, man. I'm trying to get it together. You know, like I said, I'm building it as I fly. So, trying to figure it out, man. But this is a juicy topic. This is a topic that there's a lot of emotion behind, and there's a lot of dishonesty in dealing with. This is something that many men that I have come across have dealt with. I've read stories and seen videos about many men who have said they were put in this situation. And in this topic today, we're going to be dealing with a judge that is actually facing this reality, and not just any judge. This is not a criminal law judge. This is not a, a, a regular civil judge. This is not, this is a family court judge. And this is why this hits home in so many places. I just found out a guy I know, he's 51 years old, and he just found out about 6 months ago that the man he had been calling his father all his life was really not his father. What's worse, he found out he found out that his mom doesn't know who his father is. It's that crazy out here, man. It's that crazy. We've seen videos through the years of men confronting women saying that, you know, they had the results of a DNA test of a child and come to find out that the child that that woman said belonged to that man really wasn't that man's child. And, like I said, it's usually passed off as skits. Oh, that's not real. That's a skit. They just doing that for views. Stuff. Could be. But again, I personally know people that this has happened to. And now we got a judge. This man has been married 51 years. 51. I don't think somebody that's old enough to be married for that longer time would be doing skits just for views. I could be wrong, and I am open to that possibility, but I doubt it. I doubt it seriously. So I'm gonna let a few more people get into the room, get into the rooms, because I'm going live on Rumble. I'm going live on Twitter as well. So I want to get people to come in on all the different platforms so that I can get this story out as much as possible, because I think it's an important one, man. And I don't think enough is being done as far as legislation in the United States to protect men from this stuff happening. You know, I just read something this morning that in Alabama, they have come up with legislation, come up with a law to basically say that embryos, children, effectively putting a person at the time of conception. And this is the intent was to protect the rights of the unborn, which, okay, I get it. The problem with that is that womb hustlers will find a way to sue men for child support for embryos that they can buy at a fertility clinic. Not only that, if an accident happens, which is what really kind of inspired the legislation in Alabama, a person was there purchasing embryos and accidentally knocked over some embryos. And I guess this person is going to be charged with like manslaughter. So this was the catalyst behind the Alabama law. Deacon Dave, what up, man? Salute. Salute to you, Deacon Dave. Deacon Dave, I appreciate you, man. Thanks for sliding through. So you we have that. We have the Alabama legislation. And in Florida, a couple of years ago, they came up with legislation for women to actually be able to petition for prenatal child support. Think about it, guys. Prenatal child support. This woman does not know who the child's father is. If it's a single woman, especially if it is a woman who is unmarried, she does not know who the child's father is, because we know what it is out there. We know what it is. They're riding the carousel, you know. She can appoint a father. They made it just that much easier for a woman to appoint a father in in the effort to protect the lives of the unborn. When I saw this coming out of Florida, I looked at it and said, okay, if I were a pro life woman and I was pregnant, I'd sue a politician for child support first before I actually, took them off, just to show them how stupid that legislation was. Nothing about mandatory DNA, nothing about paternity fraud. They come up with prenatal child support. What kind of shit is that? This chick don't even know if if she's gonna go through with the pregnancy. But this is the kind of nonsense that the politicians are pursuing on the right, mind you, on the right, because Alabama and Florida are uh, Republican states. This is the legislation that they're pursuing on that side. Meanwhile, on the left, they're constantly looking for ways for not only to be able to delete kids in as many delete embryos and stuff in as many ways as possible, but also to get the state to pay for it, to get the government to pay for it. But neither side wants to talk about the right of a man to know if that's his child or not. Especially if you're going to drag him in court. You had a case in Michigan not too long ago, a few years back, where there was a guy that lived on the same block with a woman. He lived on the same street, but not necessarily on the same block. He lived in the neighborhood. This woman knew his name, but she had nothing to do with him. He had nothing to do with her. She got pregnant by somebody else, and in order to get state benefits, she went down to the public aid office and submitted this guy's name. Said he was the father of her child, even though they never had sex, they never even touched each other. And she admitted this. And the state, years later, went after this guy for child support, threw him in jail, and threatened to put him in prison for a child he never fathered. He had DNA evidence that he was not the father, and had the testimony of the woman who admitted she lied. Said the man had never touched her, never had a sexual encounter with her. What kind of shit is that? But politicians on both sides are pursuing making it easier for women to get child support. These same strong and independent women, these same women that can buy sperm, these same women that can molest boys and get semen from them, these same women that can steal semen from a, a non-consensual act, they're making it easier for these women to be able to pursue child support charges, which is unconstitutional. It's unconstitutional on that level, and it's also unconstitutional in that these women, these very same women, can decide to have an abortion, never go through with the birth, never go through with a live birth, or paving station, and I'm just gonna leave this kid there. This woman never has to worry about child support. Think about it. If that were a man, you're going to jail. And you're going to pay child support. Not only is that sexist, it's unconstitutional. But guys be letting this slide. Let's see what the sisters got to say. Them motherfuckers. Excuse my language. I ain't gonna never get monetized. I ain't gonna never get monetized. But they be the same guy. Hey, let's see what the sisters got to say. That goofy underdog guy. And it's a bunch of them out here. I don't blame the women because the women gonna do what they can get away with. Not at all. I don't blame them. You do what you can get away with. Deacon Dave says, think about how stupid this is. They don't let you recover the funds when you find out that it's not your child. The money just gets flushed. Fact. That is absolutely true. Child support is when she gets pregnant for new furniture and past due bills. Exactly. And in a lot of places, they don't even want they don't even want to let the defendant file to have an accounting of every dime spent. Because if it's child support, ideally it should be for the child, not to get her hair and nails done, not so she can go to Olive Garden, not so that she can go to Club Shay Shay and pop bottles, not so, not so she could take a trip to the Dominican Republic and get a mommy makeover and a BBL. None of that. But she can do all of that because in most courts, she don't have to account for the money spent. And because we don't have mandatory DNA testing, she can appoint a father. In fact, in a lot of states, if you marry a woman with kids, y'all stay married 2 or 3 years and decide it doesn't work, it ain't working out, and you want to go your separate ways, do you know that woman can successfully sue you for child support in many of these states and jurisdictions? I used to work with a guy, man. He married a chick with 2 kids. And for some reason, she decided she wanted to start making adult movies at their house. And she was interviewing, male adult actors and stuff in this dude's house. And when I found out that the kids wasn't his, I said, "Hey, man, you okay? She obviously she's poly, but she got kids. I told him, I said, if you divorce her, you're gonna wind up paying child support for her kids, right?" He said, "No, no." Guess what? They got divorced about 4 years later. Guess who paying child support for them kids? That dummy. It's that dummy. There's no protections for guys like him. They're gonna make him pay a consequence for his stupidity. But that woman's not gonna have to pay a consequence for her forgetting to take her birth control pills. She's not gonna pay a consequence for lying and saying that she had the baby by Steve, but the baby is really Chad's. Do you know that in the United States, Black American women have 1 million more multiracial babies than Black men do when they only marry at a rate of 4% interracial, but they got 1 million more kids? They already have 63% of them have children, as opposed to 38% of Black men, under the age of 40. And they only marry interracially at 4%, but yet have 1 million more kids than 1 million more mixed race kids than Black men do. In the words of Dr. Umar, don't you find that suspicious? I don't even like that motherfucker, but that shit is appropriate. That shit is appropriate, man. But this is what it is. This is what we're dealing with. You know, I'm gonna let Judge Joe Brown tell y'all what it is, because Judge Joe Brown talked about this not too long ago, and this is not the first time I heard Judge Joe Brown talk about this, but he dropped some game on this. Check it out.
Judge, you've been around when you're doing a meeting with all these families. What part of the responsibility is mothers? What part of the responsibility is on the father? Because typically the blame goes on the father.
Well, there are no fathers. And see, the thing of it is, these men that just ran off and left the women, these women don't want the men. All they wanted was the babies. And see, you had people like the poetress Nikki Giovanni back in the 60s were going all around the country and they were lecturing the women and they would young women, and they were saying, you don't need a father for your children. Just
Hey, we're gonna go back to what Judge Joe Brown said, because I've been saying this for years. I tell guys this all the time, that these women are not, if you didn't marry, if you didn't give a woman your last name, or you didn't father a woman, these women are not your women, and that there is not a problem with fathers not being in the household. And this is my issue with conservatives like Larry Elder and what's the one Peterson guy, not Scott Peterson, the black guy. Y'all know who I'm talking about. He be trolling the LGBT all the time. And this is also Brandon Tatum. I have an issue with him with this. All these conservatives that are real quick to jump out there and say these fathers are absent from the home. You know what? These kids were not conceived in marriages. They don't have fathers. The women, these are not married women that are being left by husbands. These women belong to the state. Let's continue.
men that just ran off and left the women. These women don't want the men. All they wanted was the babies. And see,
I'm strong. I'm independent. I don't need no man. Shout out Judge Joe Brown.
you had people like the poetress Nikki Giovanni back in the 60s were going all around the country, and they were lecturing the women, and they were young women, and they were saying, you don't need a father for your children. Just get preggo, find one that looks good, smart, athletic. Yeah, that one. And don't even tell him that he's the daddy, because if you bring a man into the picture, they screw up everything. So there was this point where if you had the guy around, there was a problem. And then there was some that did want the guy around, but back when I first started practicing law 50 years ago, one of our #1 cases was getting the check cut back on because some dingbat social worker would sit at the end of the block with binoculars, and if there was one or two of the 6 or 7 baby daddies trying to play father, they'd cut the check off. So
Okay, not only do these women intentionally have children outside of marriage, when you have a situation of where when the men who are allegedly the fathers actually decide to uh, fill the role of a father and do fatherly things, instead of the state funding that because they would like to see more of it, they penalize the woman by cutting off the benefits. But yet, if she goes out and she has a child with no husband, they'll give her the benefits. You fund, you incentivize what you want to see grow, and what you want to hinder or stop growing, you taxed or penalized. We all know the game. We all know the formula. Let's continue.
we had problems with juvenile courts around the country where judge just thought about kid, well, you feed it long enough, he'll look just like you. So, you know, that was before DNA. And I can remember one thing. It was a cop I was representing, and he got a petition to increase the child support. So when they called the kid's name, I stood up, he stood up. 2 more lawyers stood up, and 2 other guys stood up. So this woman was collecting child support from 3 guys for the same kid. So we finagled getting some DNA testing, and none of the 3 were the daddies.
No way.
Did y'all need to hear that again? Did y'all need to hear that again? I think you all needed to hear that one more time. Let's go back.
kids, so we finagled getting some DNA stood up, and two other, I stood up. He got a petition to increase the child support, so when they called the kid's name, I stood up, he stood up. Two more lawyers stood up, and two other guys stood up, so this woman was collecting child support from three guys for the same kid. So we finagled getting some DNA testing, and none of the three were the daddies.
No way.
So, I mean, you have these horror stories going on.
That's some.
Yeah. Shout out to Judge Joe Brown. Shout out to PBD Podcast, one of my favorite podcasts. One of my favorite of many podcasts for having Judge Joe Brown on and addressing this issue. So yeah, you have a situation where these women intentionally have these children without the men. They intentionally they want the children. They don't want the husbands. They don't want the male presence. Um, you even had a content creator who suggested deleting like male babies. So you have uh you have a anti-family sentiment or anti-male presence in the family, making taxpayers fund those children. We're making unconstitutional laws to impose child support on upon men that these very same women appoint as fathers. This is why mandatory DNA testing is important. This is something that anytime you guys meet any of these politicians, this is what you need to be telling them. Hey, listen, we need to get some mandatory DNA laws put in place. I don't care what part of the country you're in. If it's not already there, you need to bring it up. This is why I say you guys need to get active. You need to get out here. You need to meet the politicians. You need to meet these people who have the ears of the politicians and stuff so that you can get out there and express this concern because this potentially impacts everybody. And now with this Me Too stuff, you can have some woman come 20, 30 years from now and say, hey, my son Larry, that's your kid. It happened where a woman, she was 70 some years old. No, she was 50 some years old. She sued a 76-year-old man uh, for back child support because she allegedly found out that this man was her father. She sued on behalf of her mother, sued this man for back child support. This man didn't even know this woman existed until she sued him. That stuff needs to be put in check, and we need mandatory DNA laws. We need this because you have a lot of people that um, they grow up in families all their lives thinking that this man is their father. Every child knows who their mother is, with the exception of that child was given to a woman when that child was very small, and she raised that child very small. And she never told me, hey, I'm actually not your mother. That usually doesn't happen, but it is not uncommon for men to find out that the children that have been calling them daddy, that they have been raising, are not really their children. You know how painful that's got to be, how hurting that has to be. It's horrible. That's horrible. Let me see if I can find this. Let me see if I can find this Bill Moyers um video. Um, you know what? I need to do a part two and come back with that because you guys got to see that with the welfare mothers and stuff. Uh, we got to address that later. But let's take a look at this video with this judge. Now, this judge is a family court judge who is used to hearing family court, child support issues, paternity issues, so forth and so on. And he's been practicing law for a long time. And he had a family of his own. And lots of times people get into a profession and they're so entrenched and have been in that profession for so long, they forget to it's like they almost forget that they can be subject to the very laws that they enforce. I've seen it happen with child support situations. I've seen it happen with police officers and their kids. You know, you have a police officer running around, uh, you know, officer lock them up, and come to find out, they got the worst kids in the neighborhood. Kids are selling drugs, stashing pistols, all kinds of crazy stuff. You know, they spend so much time out there locking up everybody else's kids that they didn't realize that they had the worst kids in the area. I've seen that. I've seen pastors with the worst kids in the church. I've seen it. You know? So I think this might have happened to this judge as well. I don't know what this judge's record was for how he adjudicated cases, but you know, I know oftentimes people they become oblivious and they take for granted that the very laws they enforce can be enforced upon them. Let's take a look at this guy.
I have been married for 51 years. Got 2 sons, 42 and 40. Damn deadbeats. I'm still supporting the little boogers. Needed to take a test to see if any of us had a kidney good enough for my brother. Found out something interesting. They ain't my kids.
You see, he didn't even approach this situation out of suspicion, saying that you know, man, these kids don't look like me, they don't act like me, they have nothing like me. This was a medical issue that caused this judge to have the kids tested, and they were grown. You see that they were in their 40s. So these guys, one was 40 and I guess one was 45. 45 years before this guy found out that the man he's been calling dad his whole life really wasn't his dad. This guy was trying to help his brother get a kidney and tested the kids to see if the kids had a compatible kidney. And that's how he found out his wife had the kids by somebody else. Let's continue.
There's somebody else's. Of course, the only good thing is, I know it's not my fault that those 2 idiots got dumped into this world. Hell, I thought they took after their mother.
He said, no wonder they were stupid. I thought they took after their mother. Hey man, he ain't shit for that.
Instead, they take after the plumber or the postman or the milkman, or yeah, there were milkmen back when they came around. I mean, God only knows. It sure gets old. I do wish I knew who the real fathers were, and they ain't the same. She was bopping a couple of different guys. But if I could figure out who they were, I've been practicing law long enough that I pretty well figure I can sue their ass and get all my money back that I sunk into those two deadbeats.
Hey, hey, he call them guys deadbeats just like their dads. But you know what? It ain't really ain't even them guys' fault. Them guys might not even know for sure that they had kids by this woman. For all we know, that woman could have had these kids off one night stands. It's happened. Shout out to the Walmart baby batter guy, the that guy that um was making all them damn babies. Let's continue.
It just chaps my ass that she couldn't tell me. I'd probably forgiven her. Maybe not. You know how it is. Hell, boys, y'all need to go get your own paternity test. You can't tell by looking who's the daddy.
Mama's baby, daddy's maybe. That's where it comes from. Hey, they say that the red pill is getting younger and younger. I say that the red pill is getting older and older as well. I think it's expanding out in both directions. Let's continue.
Unless you're looking down at the genetic level. I've been in court thousands of times in paternity suits. And 4 out of 5 times, guy says he ain't the daddy, he's right. And the genetic test is the only way to prove it for sure. These women are hopping everything that looks fun. You thought you liked sex. You ain't nothing. Well, I guess that pretty well completes that story. I'll go home, start drafting up some divorce papers, see if I can't get free of that crazy bitch. I mean, I stayed with her for the sake of the children and the grandchildren, now the great-grandchildren. But they ain't no kin of mine. Fuck 'em.
Whoa, bars. he said, he said, ain't no kid of mine. Fuck him. Hey, that's brutal. Hey, that's brutal. But he said a few things in there that I think are very important. One of which was the fact that he said 4 out of the men that come into court and that make the claim that the kids aren't theirs, 4 out of 5 of them are correct. That's scary. They did a study in the United Kingdom a few years back to where they did they had kids do DNA tests to it was some kind of assignment about their lineage, and they found out that 30% of the kids that took DNA tests for this assignment were not the children of their fathers. They I guess there's a similar stat like that in Jamaica as well. And so that leads me to the suspicion that if small numbers were compared, that I think it would be I think it would be comparable, um, and that this would also be reflective in the greater population. You know, like I said, I got a buddy that's 51 years old. He just found out that the man he's been calling his father his whole life is not his father. Dick and Dave said that video was sad as AF. Yeah, man, it is. It is. You know, that guy, he looks to be in his 80s. I can't see at this point in his life him, doing this for chats and views. You know, I don't see it. Deacon Dave says, if you've been paying child support for 10 years for a 10-year-old and you find out that the kid isn't yours, will the child support stop? Can you get a support order reversed? Deacon Dave, that, man, it varies from state to state, from jurisdiction to jurisdiction. Um, so I don't think there's an easy answer to that. That's something like we would have to talk to like a Dennis Sperling or a Mr. Linnell Palmer. Shout out to Dennis Sperling and Linnell Palmer, Mr. Fuck Child Support, because they do the Lord's work when it comes to this child support discussion. Shout out to Dr. Tia San Johnson, who also um, talks about this subject at various times. Shout out to Green Gorilla, the G with a PhD. He also talks about this subject. But to answer that question, it depends on the jurisdiction. But likely no, because for the most part, that's not addressed by politicians. What's addressed is making sure that women get child support. That's the thing, and that's why I say that's why men need to be more politically active, need to have a bigger voice. I'm talking about real men. I'm not talking about simps and suckers and slick back preachers and stuff like that. I'm talking everyday men, everyday heterosexual, masculine men need to be more active in politics. You guys that come to the red pill, you need to get off of that. Oh, I'm a lone wolf. I'm a Sigma. Get your ass involved in politics, stupid, because this shit affects you if you don't do nothing. So you might as well get in there and try to make some fucking changes. This is that bullshit I'm talking about. These guys be sitting around here, oh, well, I'm a lone wolf. I don't need to. You need to fucking group, you dummy. You need the fucking group. You don't have to be the leader. You don't have to be somebody that's constantly following up behind the leader and stuff. But you need the group at some point. Because guess what? They're going to tax and penalize your stupid ass with the group. I ain't gonna ever get monetized. Lead attorney is another great one. I forgot about him. Lead attorney is great. And when it comes to the shout out lead attorney, he's been doing a bang up job on this Fonnie Willis situation. I would love to talk with lead attorney. I'm a fan of everybody except Cynthia G and Kimmy Foster. I don't like them too, but shit, I'll go sit down and talk with Tasha K. I'll probably piss her off, but I kind of like Tasha K, man. Tasha K cool, but yeah, shout out lead attorney, man. He talks about this. He talks about, family court and divorce and stuff. Shout out to him. But um getting back to what I was saying, you know, it doesn't matter if you think you're a lone wolf. These politics going to affect you whether you're a lone wolf or not. Legislation is going to impact you whether you think you're a lone wolf or not. So you might as well get involved at least at the point of telling these politicians what you want. Tell them what you want, tell them what you don't want. You don't want to be paying for kids that ain't yours, do you? Y'all know they're trying to bring back palimony, right? You know what that means? You've had a long-term girlfriend over a period of time for a few years, and y'all break up. They're trying to make it to where it's legal again for her to sue you for something like alimony. So all you spiritual marriage guys, guess what? They trying to get it to where they can get at your pockets. They can run your pockets. They got rid of it in a lot of places and said it was unconstitutional. They're trying to do workarounds to bring that shit back. But you guys ain't worried about that. You guys are worried about she got her ass though. These women ain't shit, and I'm a lone wolf. That's the stupid shit you guys are worried about. You're concentrating on the wrong shit. They run in your pockets when you worried about some shit. I want me a woman that'll cook for me and that'll be submissive. They not gonna do that. So you might as well become their political enemy. Whatever they vote for, you vote against. Because all that other shit you're talking, they not doing that. The submission you want is not what they're going to give you. Get over it. You say these women ain't, I always say, you say these women ain't shit, okay, yeah, okay, now what? You got some work to do. We agree on that, so you got work to do. You're not gonna change a whole group of women. If you find one, cool. You're not gonna change a whole group of them. They're gonna still be showing their buttholes on OnlyFans. They're gonna still be talking about how they don't like to go to Cheesecake Factory, and you got to spend $500 on a date. And they still gonna run around here talking about you need to be 6 or 7 figures in order to date them. Meanwhile, she 5'2" and 240. They're not going to change. They are your political enemy, so you need to treat them as such. Shout out to Hood Conservative. But this is what we're dealing with, guys. This guy was trying to help his brother. He was trying to help his brother. He was trying to find a kidney for his brother. Found out that the people that were supposed to be his children are not his children. He thought he had great grandkids. They're not his. And I know some old simp syrupy dude, panty sniffer, or some old septum ring will be like, well, he made the family bonds, and they're his family because if he said they ain't his family, it ain't his family. Genetically, they not. If the man said they are not his family, they're not his family. I don't care what bullshit you come up with. It takes a village to raise a child. By village, you all must mean deception. This man has the truth, and he said it ain't his. You gotta honor it. You gotta honor that. It's different if he came into the situation knowing that, hey, this woman had kids by somebody else, and I'm going to take on these kids as my own. Shout out to Russell Westbrook. That's what he did. That's what he wanted to do because that was the woman he wanted. She came with a kid. He's raising the kid as his own. Hey, I've got no problem with that if that's what you want to do. I wouldn't do it, but if that's what you want to do, hey, by all means, just understand the risk. But that's different than if you married this woman, she didn't have no kids, you all get together, build a life together, y'all. She has kids, but you don't. While y'all married, she has some kids. You come to find out you didn't father those kids she had, and there wasn't a fertility clinic involved or something like that. That's a fucking problem. Y'all don't hear me though. Long as she can cook and make you some greens, huh? Stupid motherfuckers. Not y'all that I rock with, but we're gonna have some of them ones. I'm gonna inevitably have some of them goofy ass guys that's gonna come in the comment section and they're gonna be worried about the wrong shit. That message is for them, not for you guys that I rock with, not for you guys that we are all on the same page. You know. Now, if y'all on that stuff or on that goofy ass alpha beta sigma shit, no. If you're going to talk about that alpha beta sigma stuff, take it from a man and not a woman. And I'm telling y'all, it's not what y'all think it is. Alphas ain't all it cracked up to be. Betas ain't as bad as y'all think it is. And alphas and sigmas are essentially the same person. What a lot of you guys really are deltas. There's nothing wrong with that. Not at all. That's where your talent comes from. Look it up. Your deltas and your gammas and stuff like that. Yeah, man. So, like Deacon Dave said, this is sad, man. This is sad. But this is something we as men got to address because this could happen not only to us, this could happen to our sons, our nephews. It could even happen to our fathers if they're still alive. You know, what if you found out the man you've been calling your dad your whole life? He find out, he need a kidney, and so you go get tested to see if you can give him a kidney, and you come to find out that ain't your father. You know how painful that is, and the man is already sick. No telling how many men this impacts. It's painful, man. Yeah, it's rough. It's rough. So, gentlemen, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do to fix this? One of the things we're gonna do to fix this, as I keep mentioning, we are going to put the word out to politicians. We're gonna let our voices be heard to politicians. I'm doing my part with the Republican Party in Florida. I know if Blexit was here, he would. I know he expresses his concerns to the Republican Party in Illinois. Um, I don't know if Deacon Dave. I don't know if you're politically active, but if you are, express it to your politicians in your area. You know, but each one preach one. We got to do that. Another way we can do our part is these stories like this one. We got to cover as many of these stories as possible because there are a lot of different stories. Whether it's you think it's a skit or not, err on the side of doing content on it, showing it to other people. We cannot let this issue go away, especially now with what we got going on politically. It's more important than ever to we got to expose all of the female fuckery that we can. And I'm not saying all women are doing female fuckery, but there's enough out there to where it is a public concern, and we got to expose it. Nobody should just blindly trust anybody. You know, there's a saying that the Russians have: trust but verify. I agree with that. Okay, I would say go a little bit further. Don't trust, verify first. Be neutral until you verify that the information is what it is. You know, conservative or more right leaning. Okay. All right. So yeah, man, give it to people in your local GOP office and meet them politicians and express to them concerns about, hey, we need to get some mandatory DNA. We need to get a mandatory DNA statute of legislation that it's time. You know, all women know who their children are. All women know if they had a child or not. Men don't know. Isn't that a right? It's a medical issue. You know, it's a financial issue. There's a lot we got to deal with. You know, there's a lot that men have their rights restricted when it comes to this paternity fraud situation. So we just saw this judge, man. We just saw this judge. This is a family court judge showing politicians his video is powerful. You all don't realize just how powerful his video is. Believe me, that is powerful. Because guess what? The women who have supposedly been left, even though they were never married, you can't leave an unmarried woman because she belongs to the state. But they have their little propaganda that they show the politicians, and they sit there and cry and say, "Oh, man, I need some help with these kids." This is what they go up in front of these people and do, man. This is exactly what they do right here.
Somebody needs to pay for all my children. Somebody needs to pay for all my children.
Shout out to Angel Adams 2 times. She's letting you know somebody needs to pay for all my children. Meanwhile, you guys want to be stoic, whatever the fuck that means, and not say nothing. Just let problems happen to you. It'll be all right. Y'all got some of the stupidest ideologies that you guys are following or being misled into that I have ever seen in my life. It's like you all will hear some shit. Well, that's manly, and then instead of stepping back and saying, "No, wait a minute, let me analyze this." What you know, how does this really work in this day and age? This is not the 20s, the 40s, or the 50s. This is 2024. Is this applicable to this time in human existence? Like like that men paying 100% of the bills. In this day and age where women are starting to out earn men, and it's easier for women to get jobs and different stuff like that, and they all strong and independent and push for all of this leadership and control, it's stupid to keep paying for everything. Okay, if you one of them guys that's a conservative and you so-called want full control, okay, but then you better not marry an American woman. You better go find you a woman and you know, Eastern Orthodox Christian who don't have a cell phone and none of that. You need to move out of the West before you get married. You need to get the fuck out of the West and figure out how to make money and stuff to where you can pay 100% of bills if that's what the fuck you want to do. Because if you marry a woman in the West, you setting yourself up for failure. Fuck that stupid shit Obsidian was talking. Fuck that stupid shit Kevin Samuels was talking. This is where I disagreed with both of them. I like them guys, but they were stupid when it came to that shit. Especially if that woman's not a virgin, if she's coming with baggage and she's coming with kids, 50-50 is the most she deserves. If she comes with a degree and she paying back student loans, guess what? She need to pay to be in that relationship with you. If she want to have veto power, she want to have the right to run her mouth, let the bitch pay for it. Y'all don't hear me though. If she a sometime Christian, then guess what? She got to pay the penalty fee. She got to pay that tithe in the EU every month. You paying 100% of the bills in this day and age, that's some sentimental shit. That's some shit for you. Because guess what? If y'all break up and she go to divorce court, she gonna say, "Well, I wasn't able to earn any income, and I don't," and she gonna knock you upside the head for alimony. And you set your stupid ass up. You set yourself up for it because you're stupid. Nowadays, we know better. Extended clips, what up, bro? How you feeling, man? Glad to have you here. I don't know how long you've been listening in, but we went over that video, man, of the family court judge that found out that his two sons were not really his. They were fathered by two other men. And he had been married to the same woman for 51 years. So not only did he find out after 51 years that the men the kids he thought he fathered weren't his kids, he all those kids found out that the man they had been calling father and depending on to be their father for all their lives, they come to find out that's not their real father. That's what we're talking about. And we're talking about I'm trying to get guys to rethink a lot of the stuff that they have been taught about manhood, conservatism, different stuff like that. I want them to see the other side. That some of that shit is outdated in this day and age. You know, these women that have they've done and said so much. They stuck their foot so much in their mouth so much that 50-50 is the most that they deserve. They don't deserve to be 100% divided provided for in this day and age. These modern women, no, no, they got to put something on the table other than coochie, because coochie is free. Every woman comes with standard with a coochie. Every biological woman, that is. This since they didn't let guys in the door, just because they got on a skirt and makeup and call himself Kimmy, you know, he a master disguise. They let them call himself a woman too. But every biological woman on the planet comes with coochie standard. So coochie ain't enough. You know, this whole, being stoic and stuff is it goes against talking to these politicians and telling them that there's certain things you want, like mandatory DNA testing. You know, I mean, there's a lot of things that we got to look at that we need to rethink as modern men. We need to rethink in this age because we can't we can't afford to be in the 20s, in the 40s, in the 50s in our thinking. We can't even afford to be in the 70s, what I think, because those worlds are gone. The economy is very different. The we are no longer in the industrial revolution. We are in the technology revolution. We're in AI now. That's different. Uh, we are not uh, we are not confined to U.S. soil. We can live and make money anywhere on the planet. Uh, Church is no longer the place to go find a wife anymore. You know, life has changed, but we got guys that I want to go back to Black Wall Street. That's the stupidest shit. Every Black Wall Street I know is fucking gone for a reason. Find something else to call it. That Wall Street, Black Wall Street, at this point is not a good name. It's because they all go away. Find something else to call it. Silicon Valley ain't Wall Street. It's two different things. Silicon Valley is kicking ass. That's all I'm saying. You know, it's like we need to rethink some stuff, man. Um, and it's like, you know, like I tell people all the time, I vote Republican, but I am not a conservative. I'm a constitutional. Uh, I'm a constitutionalist first. I'm a libertarian second. I vote Republicans because I don't like the shit Democrats come up with. But I am not a conservative. I do not care what homosexuals do, as long as they're not in schools doing it, and as long as they're not grooming kids. I don't care what two grown people do. I don't care if a man has more than one woman. I don't care if a woman has more than one man. It does not affect what I do. As long as they're considered adults, I don't care. I'm not a conservative. I don't even understand what black conservatives are conservative. You know, I don't. I really don't. What? Certainly not Black Wall Street. You know, and all this shit with the, you know, we're trying to bring back black families stuff. I come from a long line of men who had multiple families. I'm gonna conserve that? No, no, I'm not. I'm not conserving that. I mean, I got two relatives that had 125 kids between the two of them. I'm not conserving that. You know, I got granduncles and third cousins that had kids in several countries. I'm not conserving that. you know. So yeah, you know, the you know the whole thing with I agree with dirty folks when it comes to the idea of black. Nowadays it is for women, felons, and gays. You know, I'm not. I don't rock with the black shit. you know, pro blacks worship vagina. I don't worship vagina like that. You know, I happen to like women of all colors. I think women of all colors are attractive. You know, so yeah, there's a lot of stuff that go on in this space, and I'm like, we got to rethink it. We got to rethink it. You know, we got to do something different because what's going on right now, uh, it 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 doesn't work for everybody, and you know, the these guys that talk manosphere type talking points, uh, the manosphere is not even a monolith. You have the the manosphere in as a whole. You got about 4 or 5 different spheres in there. You got the game sphere, you got the black manosphere, you got the white manosphere, you got the you got the the Micto monks. They got their own thing. You got the SYSBM and off of that shot passport bros, and you got a whole bunch of different little spheres and stuff, of a whole bunch of different tribes that are a part of the bigger nation. And what works for one group is not gonna work for the others. You look at IPMORs and you look at SYSBM. Diametrically opposed views. They have things where they're similar, but they have things where they're different. Deacon Dave says Dirty was on spot with that phrase: black equals women, gays, and felons. Facts. It is what it is. It is what it is. That whole thing of conservative. This is what confused me when I hear black people say that. Because a black American's idea, so-called black American's idea of conservatism is very different than a white Christian male's idea of conservatism is. Who's idea of conservatism is different than a Muslim's idea of conservatism. I had to jump in a white guy's ass a few days ago. This motherfucker was still talking about the Islamic threat. I was like, motherfucker, China is buying up all of this land around military bases. Uh, you got Russians interfering with elections on both sides. You got you got Russian bots and all kinds of stuff. And you worried about the what the Muslims are doing? They standing on business. If anything, you need to take lessons. While you worried about Muslims, guess what? Your son Chad is twerking his butthole in front of a bunch of 6-year-olds while he's wearing a miniskirt with no underwear on. Your daughter Emily hates you and she wants to defeat the patriarchy because she hates you. Your wife don't respect you and she's trying to ask you for open marriage and you worried about fucking black people? You worried about Muslims? You worried about the wrong shit. This is why I keep saying, we as modern men, we need to rethink some shit. There was a white guy online the other day. Some white woman ran up on a black guy and started hitting him, and he blasted her. Wow, just he gave it he reset her real well. Some white guy types, and this was on Twitter. He types, he wouldn't have been able to get away with that in the old days. I was like, y'all too busy out here disco dancing with no underwear on, showing your buttholes to kids. Y'all ain't going back to the old days. Y'all like doing that too much, apparently. You know, this is what I'm talking about, man. I mean, we have to really look at stuff for what it is, and this is a part of what it truly means to be red pill. It's not simply, you know, uh these women are hypergamous and they want Chad. And it's like, even that argument doesn't make sense because if you're talking about, Dee Dee Rodney, Dee Dee Daryl, who has no money, but he's laying 8 inches of wood, that's not hypergamy. That's something else. And if you had a daughter, wouldn't you want her to be hypergamous? Both economically and socially? Wouldn't you want her to be hypergamous? Would you want your son to be I want my son to be hypogamous, which is hypogamy is different than hypergamy. It is. There's hypogamy, which most men are hypogamous. Most women are hypergamous. And I don't have an issue with either. I think they're both, it is what it is. It doesn't bother me. You know, but again, a lot of men in these spaces, we need to rethink those talking points. We need to rethink the whole alpha, sigma, beta conversation because you got a lot of guys that are mislabeling themselves because they're going by some shit Instagram chicks say. These are chicks who intentionally not take they sell they sell coochie and intentionally don't take birth control so that they can womb hustle somebody. Y'all listening to what their definitions of shit is. We gotta rethink stuff, man. We gotta we as men have to do better in educating ourselves and acting on the stuff that we learn. You know, this mandatory DNA and paternity fraud, that's going to be the biggest fights we have all over the country, no matter what your position is, unless you're a simp. Then if you're a simp, you're going to do whatever the women tell you to do, and the women are going to tell you that's not important. For heterosexual masculine men of all stripes, this is right now, this is the most important fight that we have. This is a battle we could mostly win, because we're not going to win selective service in the draft. We're not going to win it. Black guys, y'all not going to win reparations. Not right now. It's not the time. I don't know if there ever be, for ADOS, FBA Black Americans, I don't know if there ever be a time you'll win reparations. Listen, I'm part banana boat. You know, I am for reparations if it can be gotten, but I don't think the things are in place, and I don't think the approach is right for how it's being done. That being said, there are some other opportunities that can be taken advantage of. They want to let all these immigrants in the country, and they're giving out all kinds of money for these immigrants. You would be stupid if you live in one of those places and are not renting houses. You know, uh, black women's sexual selection, hypergamy. Deacon Dave, actually, it's somewhat hypergamy, but then again, they'll get with Dirty D Rodney, and I've been cussing all morning. They'll get with Dirty Dick Rodney. They'll get with Dirty Dick Daryl, who won't have any money, and but he got if he got 6-pack abs, he's 6 foot tall, and he got 6 inches of meat. They're gonna let him smash, and they're gonna have a baby by him. You know, what they actually have is bedroom eugenics, and that's a term made up by me. I'm gonna put that in the chat. So the next time y'all hear bedroom eugenics or home eugenics, that comes from Mr. Royce. I'm gonna put it in here. We're gonna do this right here. Hold on. We're gonna we're gonna make this right. We're gonna do this right. But yeah, they if anything, a lot of that is practice. They have the hypergamy for guys they don't really like. Yeah. There you go, extended clips. I appreciate you, bro. Yeah, man. They practice a lot of that, That's why that white guy that was busting it wide open uh in the Walmart bathroom uh for the scissor gang. That's why they were using him, you know, because they are very genetically disposed. They are prone to they want guys with the 3 6s, and they want sexy son husbands. I don't know if you guys ever heard of the term sexy son husbands, and there's an article about it that's on the internet. Let me see if I can find it. I'll post the link. If I can find it, let me see. Which we are going to okay, yeah. This is not what I'm looking for. Hey man, y'all should see the smut that comes up, man. Oh my god. There's a um I know I got it somewhere, but you guys need to check that out, man. Let me look. It might be I might have it bookmarked. I bookmarked it a long time ago. Um Years ago, in fact, because I was intending on doing some content on it. And I just never got around to it. But there was an article that was actually done by th- there was an article done. Obsidian covered this before, and Dr. T. Hassan Johnson covered it as well. Okay, um, it is called the Sexy Sun hypothesis, uh, and or also the good genes hypothesis. It says female North American house. No, never mind. Never mind. Um, okay, I'm looking on a website called Springerlink. Let's see what this says. It says the definition of the sexy sun hypothesis provides a theoretical framework to explain the evolution of social polygyny by female choice polygyny. That is where a woman has more than one male suitor. In some circumstances, the female will benefit in long-term fitness number of grand offspring by forming a pair with an already mated female with an already mated male, excuse me, instead that with an unmated competitor. The advantage the the sexy son hypothesis claims arises because their sons inherit the father's propensity to be polygynous and therefore prolific. The hypothesis was conceived for bird species where some females, as a consequence of mate sharing, achieve less reproductive success if they form a pair with the polygynous male instead of that with the monogamous one. That's not the theory that's not what I was looking for. This one dealt the one I'm referring to dealt more so with humans and it's basically what happens with where you have women they choose who they're going to be inseminated by based on physical attributes and in order to have kids by that person and they adore those sons. You all know how you all have seen situations where um you have women who will have these sons and they they treat these sons like a husband. They're all like, there's this one picture that I just seen recent, like last week on Facebook, where this woman, it looks like her son's prom picture, and she's all hugged up and kissing her son as if she's going on prom with him. Just real creepy, just some real incestuous, creepy looking stuff, and that's what you have. You have a lot of that, where women decide that if a man has what she likes, she want to have a baby by. You know, they're basically using sex to correct their what they feel are insufficiencies in their own genetic makeup. you know. Well, I don't, I'm 5'2" and 240. Let me have a baby by this Will Chamberlain looking dude so that my son can grow up and be 6'5" and, with 7% body fat, and either dark skin or light skin with curly hair. You know, they they consciously pick the men they want to have children with, and it's for genetic reasons. You see this in the black community in black America more than anywhere else. Um, you know, I take that back because Puerto Ricans are Latin adjacent and they do a lot of the same shit. So, you know, they're not black, but they are black adjacent. I'll say that about it. And coming from somebody with Puerto Rican roots, I know what I'm talking about. you know, where's your grandmother is real, you know. Um, but yeah, man. Um, this is what they do. This is what they do. And so, and this is another reason why mandatory DNA testing is important, because this woman will you'll have women who will have children by the men they want to have children with, and then they'll come to you. It's your baby. Chris Rock made a joke that men lie and say I was over Tim's house, and a woman's lie will be it's your baby. You know, y'all got the same hat. you know, that's real. We've seen it a lot. I've seen it. You all have seen it. So we as men, we need to do more as heterosexual, masculine men to protect ourselves and each other and to protect the men coming up behind us. You know, if we don't do it, who will? And we need to fight men who are aligned inappropriately with women. I understand men who want to take care of their mothers and stuff, and they want to protect their mothers and their daughters and their wives. I get all of that. I get all of that. I got two daughters. I want nothing but the best for them. And when I say that, I want masculine, responsible men, manly men, men who ain't gonna tolerate disrespect, men who are gonna stand on manhood. Not men who are you know, concuserves. I don't think concuserves benefit anybody in the long run, you know? And this is the thing we've got to deal with. You know, I've got a son. I don't want him to wind up in a situation where he's the victim of paternity fraud. I got nephews. I don't want any of them to wind up in a situation where they're victims of paternity fraud. I got my godson. There are other men who need protection from this. So we as men, we have to do a better job of uh, looking out for other men, even if we don't share a lot of the same interests. Like, going back to the black manosphere and the white manosphere, they kind of two different manospheres. There are situations where they ultimately converge, but there's a lot of splits. You have two different points of concern. They're all men. They are all concerned about men's issues, but the white manosphere is concerned about different stuff than the black manosphere was concerned about different stuff than the SYSBM manosphere and the passport bros and the game guys. I have different concerns than the other guys. It's all different, but there are points that we can come together and look out for men in general. All right. Do I have anything from the audience? And you guys got anything in the chat? Well, hopefully, I hope this situation with this judge, I hope it goes viral. It doesn't matter who does the video. I hope the situation goes viral. And I hope the situation gets the attention of the right politics, of the right politicians, so that we can start making changes in different areas around the country and make it harder for women, the womb hustle people. They wanted to be strong and independent and stuff, and they want family to be recognized as not needing a man, so we need to make them stand on it, even when it's uncomfortable and inconvenient. If they have the right to an abortion, men should have the right to a financial and social abortion. It is fair is fair. The women have the rights to all of that. Men don't. So we got to do better in protecting our own interests and the interests of our brothers. On that note, I'm going to shut this down. I appreciate everybody that came in. Extended Clips, Deacon Dave, whoever else out there that was watching. Do me a favor before you guys leave, hit the like button if you hadn't already, or hit the dislike button. I mean, you like what I was talking? You say, Royce Jay, you was talking shit, then hit the dislike button. Hit one of the buttons on your way out. And I'll see you guys on my next live stream. Y'all be safe. Take it easy.